It feels like the Chiefs haven't played a game in forever, but now with the bye week in the books, they'll put their perfect record on the line in a rematch of Super Bowl 58. Now, there's a lot to talk about with this game, but we'll start with the 49ers offense, which generally has been very good this year. They're averaging 6.53 yards per play. That's second to only Baltimore on a per-play basis, and they've been balanced as well. This is the number 2 passing offense in the NFL and the number 3 rushing offense in the league. And that balance has helped them move right down the field really on a regular basis. They have 27 red zone drives this year. That leads the NFL. But the red zone is where they've had problems. So they're scoring touchdowns at only a 44% clip in the red zone. That's 25th in the league. In goal-to-go situations specifically, and they have 14 of those, they've scored only 7 touchdowns, so a 50% clip. And that's very surprising for a 49ers team that was so good in the red zone just last season. They led the NFL in red zone efficiency last year at 70%. Now, I think this is kind of where we're seeing the impact of not having Christian McCaffrey as well, because McCaffrey had 18 red zone touchdowns last season. That was second most of any player. It's just very difficult to make up that production. Now, despite their struggles in the red zone, Brock Purdy has been very good this season. He ranks second in the NFL with 1,629 passing yards this year, and he's done the majority of that work just with his arm, not taking into account yards after the catch. Only 31% of the 49ers passing production this season has taken place after the catch, and that's surprising, particularly for a Kyle Shanahan-led offense. Normally you see kind of like a 50-50 split between air yards and yards after the catch, and with Shanahan, over the years, it's normally more yards after the catch than air yards, but it's been the total opposite this year for Purdy and the 49ers. It's almost all through the air, not really getting much yards after the catch at all, and that's surprising. Purdy's average depth of target is way up, it's over 10, and he's holding on to the football longer than any quarterback in the NFL at 3.35 seconds on average. Now, where he's really lived is the intermediate range of the field. Think 10 to 19 yards from the line of scrimmage. He has the most passing attempts, completions, and passing yards, all 3 by a wide margin in that range. And if you look even further, it's almost all right over the middle of the field between the numbers. So if you're the Chiefs defense, you gotta watch that area early and often on Sunday. Now, he has all sorts of weapons on this offense. Been watching plenty of Chiefs and 49ers football over the years. I think we all know these guys, players like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. But a guy who's often kind of lost in that mix is wide receiver Jauan Jennings, and he shouldn't be forgotten because he's off to a great start this year. He has 25 catches for a team-leading 404 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has 18 first down receptions this year. That's tied with Ayuk for the team lead. And also 12 times Brock Purdy has looked his way on third down, tied for the team lead. So Jennings is someone to watch on Sunday for sure. It all sets up a great battle against the Chiefs defense that just continues to dominate. The Chiefs have held opponents under 20 points in 3 consecutive games. And think about the last time Kansas City allowed 30 points to an opponent. It's been a long time. 27 games in Super Bowl 57. It's been a remarkable run of defensive success, and for me, it kind of boils down to a couple of areas. One, they've completely dominated the opponent's running game, especially this season. Every player not named Lamar Jackson has combined to average just 3.14 yards on the ground against the Chiefs this year. That includes guys like Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, and Alvin Kamara. They've been stout against the run and forced teams to become one-dimensional. And also, they've limited big plays. The Chiefs have allowed the second fewest plays of 10 or more yards and 20 or more yards of any team in the NFL this year. That creates a matchup to watch against San Francisco because they've lived off the big play this season. The 49ers have the second most plays of 10 or more yards and the most plays of 20 or more yards of any team in the league. So something has to give on Sunday, and I have a feeling whoever wins in that area is going to win the game. Now, looking at the 49ers defense, they're 12th in the NFL in scoring at the moment, allowing an average of just 21.7 points per game. They have edge rusher Nick Bosa, of course. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL and off to another great start. He has 35 pressures on the season, second most of any player, and they have 11 takeaways as a unit. That's 5th most in the NFL. They have struggled in a couple of areas, though, you don't normally see the 49ers struggle in. Notably, third down. They're 23rd in the NFL in that category, very surprising, and they're 19th in the league in red zone touchdown efficiency, which means more often than not, when teams are getting in the red zone, they're coming away with a touchdown touchdown against this defense. And these guys have given up some leads. Think about earlier this year, they had a 21-7 lead on the Rams and a 23-10 lead on the Cardinals. They lost both those games though. And that's been kind of a trend for this 49ers squad as a whole. In the first half of games, they've been great. They have a plus 53 point differential in the first half this year, second best in the NFL. But in the second half of games, they're minus 21 in terms of point differential, near the very bottom of the league, and they've let some games get away because of that. The Chiefs, meanwhile, have outscored the opposition by 31 points in the second half of games this year. That's the fourth best mark in the NFL, and a big reason why this team is 5-0 heading into this matchup. And how about the combination of Kareem Hunt and JuJu Smith-Schuster against the Saints a couple weeks ago? They combined for 247 yards. They were awesome, and each of those guys had their top statistical game since the 2020 season. Just remarkable. They helped Kansas City pile up 460 yards of offense, and while the scoreboard didn't really show a huge offensive night, that's because they were 2 of 7 in the red zone. They still operated in Saints territory on 8 of 9 offensive possessions. So the pieces are there. It's just a matter of finishing in the red zone. Ironically, the same can be said for the 49ers. I talked about their red zone struggles a little bit earlier, and whoever can find a way to finish in the red zone is likely going to win this game in a battle between NFL heavyweights. And if it's the Chiefs, we'll be talking about their first 6-0 start since 2013.